poor guy has no idea. Those were my wife's exact words about me on a call, she thought. I couldn't hear I am 32, married to my wife 29 for 4 years. Together 6 years total. I work in software development. She is in marketing. Her family is comfortable. Mine built wealth over 3 generations. There is a trust fund. She knows about it. Last Tuesday, I came home early from the gym. My building key card glitched, and I had to get a replacement from the front desk. Took 20 extra minutes. When I got to our apartment, I heard her voice from the bedroom. The door was cracked open. She was laughing. I was about to walk in when I heard my name. The poor guy has no idea. He thinks I actually care about his coding projects. God. He spent 40 minutes last night explaining some algorithm to me. I wanted to die. Her friend's voice came through the speaker, amused but muffled. Something about waiting it out. Until his trust fund vests 3 more years and I am set for life. His grandfather set it up so he gets full control at 35. Some protection thing for the family. I just have to make it to the finish line. Her friend asked something I couldn't hear clearly. My wife responded immediately. Marcus is just for fun. Something to keep me sane while I am stuck here. He is broke, but at least he is not boring. My husband is too busy optimizing code or whatever to notice I am checked out. The friend said something else. My wife's tone shifted. More calculating. I have got this mapped out perfectly. His parents worship me. His mom literally said I am the best thing that ever happened to him. When the time comes, I will play the victim. Say we grew apart, that he was always working, emotionally unavailable. I will cry to his family about how hard I tried. They will feel sorry for me. Hell, they might even give me something just to keep the peace. Either way, by the time he figures it out, I am gone. I backed away from the door. My hands were steady. That surprised me. I rode the elevator back down to the parking garage and sat in my car. The dashboard clock said 2:47 p.m. I watched it change to 2:48, then 2:49. At 3:30, I went back upstairs, made noise opening the door, called out that I was home. She came out of the bedroom smiling, asked about the gym, kissed my cheek like nothing had happened. That night, I lay awake next to her while she slept. Her breathing was soft and even peaceful. I stared at the ceiling and replayed the words. 3 more years. Marcus. His boring coding projects, the calculation of every single piece of it. Around 4 a.m. I got up and went to the living room. Saturday on the couch in the dark. My chest felt tight. Not pain exactly, just pressure. Like something heavy sitting on my ribs that wouldn't move. I haven't told her I know. It has been 4 days now. I have been going through the motions. Coffee in the morning. Work. Coming home. She hasn't noticed anything different, but I started seeing things I had ignored before. How she perks up when my dad mentions the family investments. How she always suggests expensive restaurants when my parents are paying. How interested she got in our finances around year 2, wanting to combine everything for efficiency. I remember our second date. She asked about my family. Normal question. But then she got specific. What my father did. Whether I had siblings who might inherit. If my grandparents were still alive. Whether we owned property. At the time I thought she was just curious about my background. Now I am adding it up differently. Last night she brought up having a baby again. Said she has been thinking about it seriously and feels ready. My stomach turned over. Is that part of the plan? Lock things down more permanently? I haven't told anyone yet. Not my parents. Not my best friend Chris. I am not ready to hear myself say it out loud. That my marriage is a long-term investment strategy to someone who thinks my work is boring, and I am too stupid to notice she is planning her exit. The trust fund she mentioned. My grandfather established it when I was born. Income from it becomes accessible for specific purposes, like buying property or starting a business. But full control and the principal doesn't transfer until I am 35. My dad built in protections. If I get divorced before the vesting date, the structure changes. Protections kick in. She doesn't know that. She thinks she just has to wait 3 more years and then walk away with her cut. I keep thinking about how long she has been counting down. How many nights she has fallen asleep next to me doing math. How many times she has kissed me while planning her exit strategy. I don't know what I am asking for here. Part of me still cannot believe it is real, but I know what I heard. Her voice. The casual cruelty of it, the laugh. Has anyone been through something like this? Do I confront her now, or wait? What do I even do with this information? Everything looks the same. Our apartment, her face. The way she touches my arm when she talks. But nothing feels real anymore. Edit, didn't expect this response. Reading everything even if I cannot reply to all of it. To answer the common question, yes, I am absolutely certain about what I heard. She said my name. She mentioned the trust timeline. She called my work boring. There is no ambiguity here. I heard every word. Edit 2, several people asking about the trust. Yes, it is real. My grandfather's estate attorney structured it. Full control transfers at 35. Before that, I can access funds for approved purposes, but trustees have to sign off. She knows the basic structure because I told her years ago when we were talking about buying a house. I didn't think anything of sharing that information at the time. Why would I? Edit 3. The people telling me to document everything and not show my hand. I hear you. That is what my gut is telling me too. I just needed to write this out somewhere. Get it out of my head. Thank you. Update 1 I have been watching. Not in a paranoid way, just paying attention without the filter of trust I had before. She texts constantly, always has. I never thought about it. Now I notice how she angles her phone away when I am nearby, how she taps out of apps quickly when I walk into a room, how she takes certain calls on the balcony even in cold weather. I am the primary account holder on our phone plan. I can see call logs and text frequency without accessing her actual messages. There is one number she texts dozens of times daily. Calls lasting 30 to 45 minutes. I looked it up. Marcus, the pattern goes back 10 months. I haven't confronted her. Everyone in the comments said document first, so that is what I am doing. I opened a new bank account at a different institution, moved my personal savings from before the marriage into it. Just my money, nothing joint. I need something completely separate from her access. I started a note on my phone, locked with a password she doesn't know, just dates and observations. When she says she is meeting her friend Sarah, but her location sharing shows her across town. When she says she has a work dinner but comes home smelling like cologne that isn't mine. The hardest part isn't the betrayal anymore. It is the performance. She comes home and asks about my day with the same enthusiastic energy she has always had. Makes dinner, initiates sex. Everything appears normal. Except now I cannot unsee the patterns. When she asks about my work, she doesn't actually listen to my answer. She is waiting for her turn to talk. When she suggests date nights, it is always expensive places where I pay. When she talks about our future, she is vague about specifics, but detailed about lifestyle expectations. Last week my mom called. Normal conversation about family stuff. After we hung up, my wife asked what we talked about. I said just catching up. She pushed. Did your mom mention anything about your dad's investment portfolio? About the trust structure? I had never noticed before how often she steers conversations toward my family's finances. That night I did something I am not proud of. She was in the shower. Her phone was charging on the nightstand, not locked. She had just been using it. I looked at her screen time settings. There is an app called Signal that she uses constantly. I didn't open it, but I could see she is on it multiple hours daily. When I asked her about it later, casually, she said it was for a work group chat. Her company doesn't use Signal. I work in tech. I know what that app is for. Encrypted messaging that doesn't back up to cloud. I went through our joint account history more carefully. Nothing suspicious in the transactions themselves, but I noticed the balance isn't growing the way it should be. We both contribute equally. Both have good incomes, but somehow there is less there than the math says there should be. When I mentioned it to her, she got defensive, said I was being paranoid. That expenses have been higher lately. She rattled off examples: car maintenance, her sister's birthday gift, that weekend trip we took. Then she cried, said I was making her feel like she had to justify every purchase, that it felt controlling. She apologized for getting emotional, said work has been stressful and her friend is getting divorced, and it is making her anxious about us. The whole thing felt rehearsed, like she knew exactly what to say to redirect my concerns. I didn't push it, just said I understood and dropped it. But I screenshot the account history first. Chris noticed I have been off. We met for beers last Saturday. He asked directly if everything was okay. I almost told him, the words were right there, but I couldn't do it. Couldn't make it real by saying it out loud. I said work stress. He didn't buy it, but he let it go. Sunday night, I couldn't sleep. Just lay there staring at the ceiling while she breathed softly next to me. Around 2 a.m. I got up, went to the bathroom, caught my reflection in the mirror. I looked tired. Older. There were shadows under my eyes I hadn't noticed before. I pressed my palms against the counter edge and squeezed, felt the pressure in my hands. Wanted to break something. Didn't stood there until the feeling passed. When I came back to bed, she had rolled over into my spot, still asleep. I had to wake her gently to move back to her side. She mumbled, sorry, and shifted over without opening her eyes. It hit me then. She doesn't know. She has no idea that I know. She is sleeping peacefully while I am dismantling our entire life in my head. The trust fund has provisions I never mentioned to her. My dad and his attorney built in protections. If I divorce before 35, the structure changes. Spousal claims get blocked. The prenup we signed has clauses specifically about infidelity. She doesn't know any of that. She thinks she has got 3 years to hang on and then cash out. She doesn't realize the one thing that guarantees she gets nothing is leaving me. I contacted a lawyer Monday, just a consultation. Didn't give names or specifics yet. Laid out a hypothetical situation. He told me to gather evidence, secure separate assets, and be strategic about timing. When I got home, my wife asked where I had been. I said I had stayed late at the office for a project deadline. She accepted it without question. I am not ready to confront her yet. I need to understand the full scope first, but it is getting harder to maintain the pretense. Every time she touches me, I have to consciously not flinch. Every time she talks about our future, I have to ask myself which part she actually means. Someone in the comments on my last post said the hardest part is realizing you have been alone the whole time. You were right. I have been in a marriage by myself for years without knowing it. Edit. A lot of people saying confront her now. I understand the impulse, but if I do this wrong, she could empty accounts, create false narratives, turn people against me before I have my ducks in a row. I have watched it happen to friends. I am not letting that happen here. Edit 2. To those concerned about my mental health, I appreciate it. I am functional, going to work. Eating, mostly. Sleeping less but managing. I am not falling apart. I am just being careful. Update 2. I hired a private investigator 3 weeks ago. I know how that sounds, but I needed documentation that would hold up, not just my observations. The PI confirmed it. She has been seeing Marcus 2 to 3 times per week, sometimes his apartment, sometimes hotels. The PI has timestamps, photos of her entering and leaving, duration of visits. It is not ambiguous. Marcus works in pharmaceutical sales, makes decent money, nothing special, single, never married, from what the PI could determine. He has no idea about the trust fund situation. He is just the guy she is using for entertainment while she waits out her timeline with me. I met with my lawyer again, showed him everything. The PI report, the call logs, screenshots of her signal usage patterns, the financial irregularities. He reviewed it and said it is more than sufficient. The prenup will hold. She will not get anything close to what she is hoping for. The trust provisions are even stronger than I remembered. Not only does she get nothing from it if we divorce before I am 35, the prenup specifies minimal spousal support since she is employed and we have no kids. She will walk away with what she brought into the marriage and basically nothing else. My lawyer asked if I wanted to file immediately. I said not yet. I told my parents 2 weeks ago, showed them everything. My mom cried, not loud sobbing, just tears running down her face while she sat very still. My dad got quiet. Then he asked what I needed. I said nothing yet. Just wanted them to know before it became official. My mom reached across the table and grabbed my hand. She said, I loved her like a daughter. I feel like I failed you by not seeing it. I told her no, this isn't on you. She was good at this. My dad said he had suspected something was off the past year but couldn't identify what. He asked if I was sure I wanted to wait to file. I said yes. I needed one more thing. I told Chris last week. We were at his place watching a game. I muted the television during halftime and just said it, all of it. The phone call, the affair, the 3-year plan. He sat there processing for a long moment. Then he said, "I am going to ask you something, and I need a real answer. Are you safe?" I didn't understand the question at first, he clarified. "Is she dangerous? Is there any chance she had hurt you if she knew you found out?" I said no. "She is calculating. Not violent," he nodded. Then he asked what I needed from him. I said just this: someone who knows. He offered to be there when I confronted her. I told him I would let him know. I also started moving money. Carefully, legally. Documented everything first to show proper division. Then I transferred my half of the joint savings into my separate accounts. When she noticed, I told her I was reorganizing for better tax efficiency. She bought it. Last week I tested something, told her I had been thinking about the baby conversation, that maybe she was right and we should start trying. Her face lit up. She started talking immediately about names, nursery ideas, how happy my parents would be to be grandparents. I watched her perform, because that is what it was. A performance. I knew about the affair. I knew about Marcus. I knew about the countdown she had been keeping. She wasn't excited about having a baby with me. She was excited about locking down the investment. We were at dinner when I brought it up. Nice Italian place downtown. She had suggested it. She ordered wine without asking if I wanted to split a bottle. She just ordered for the table like she always does. Halfway through the meal, I said, "I have been thinking about something. If your career really took off, if you had an opportunity that required relocating, would you take it?" She paused with her fork halfway to her mouth. "What do you mean? Just curious." "Like if you got a huge promotion but it meant moving to another city, would you?" She set down her fork. "Are you asking if I would choose my career over us?" "I am asking what you would do." She reached across the table for my hand. "I wouldn't. We are a team. We would figure it out together. Maybe you could work remote. Maybe I had turned it down, but I wouldn't just leave." The lie came so easily to her, so naturally. I nodded and said, "That is good to know." She smiled and went back to her pasta. When we got home, I couldn't do it anymore. Couldn't be in the same room with her. I told her I had to finish some work, went into my home office and closed the door. At some point, I realized my jaw hurt from clenching it. My right hand was in a fist. I looked down and my knuckles were white. I stood up, paced the small room, felt the rage building like pressure behind my eyes, looked at the wall, thought about putting my fist through it. Instead, I grabbed my gym bag and left. It was 10 p.m. I went to the 24-hour gym and ran on the treadmill until my legs shook, came home after midnight. She was asleep. Yesterday, I did something my lawyer specifically asked for. I needed one more piece of evidence. I told her I had to work late, left at my normal time. Saturday in a coffee shop for an hour. Then I came back to the apartment quietly, parked in a guest spot instead of my usual space, used my key to come in through the building's side entrance. I could hear her voice before I even got to our door. She was on the phone laughing. I stood in the hallway and pulled out my phone, started recording. Her voice was clear through the door. She must have been in the living room near the entrance. "I am just so bored, Marcus. He spent 2 hours last night talking about some new project architecture. I literally wanted to scream. 3 more years of this, and then I am done." Marcus said something. She laughed again. "No, he has no idea. He is completely oblivious. Comes home, talks about work, falls asleep. The most exciting thing he has done in months is suggest we start trying for a baby. Can you imagine me, stuck here with his kid while he codes all day?" More talking from Marcus. Her tone changed slightly. "I am serious about the timeline, though. The trust vests when he turns 35. That is exactly 3 years from now. I have already talked to a divorce attorney, informally. Off the record, she said with the prenup, I will not get much. But if I am careful, I can make a case for more. I just need to document that I have been the supportive wife, that I tried. When the time comes, I will tell everyone he changed. Got cold, pushed me away. His family will feel sorry for me." Long pause while Marcus responded. She said, "If he somehow found out before then, I had just flipped the script. Make him the bad guy. Tell everyone he was controlling, financially abusive, that I was scared of him. His parents would believe me. I have spent 4 years building that trust. I had burn it to the ground if I had to. I recorded 12 minutes total. Then I left the same way I came in, Saturday in my car in the parking garage. Listened to my own breathing. Felt my heart pounding in my chest. She had just detailed her backup plan, the one where I am the villain, where she destroys my relationship with my family, where she takes the trust I have built with the people I love and weaponizes it. I forwarded the recording to my lawyer, backed it up in 3 separate locations. I am filing Monday. Papers are ready. Everything is in place. When she gets served, it is going to be a shock. I am staying at my parents' place starting tomorrow. I will text her some excuse about a work emergency in another city. By the time I come back, she will know, and there will not be anything she can do to change what happens next. The locks on the apartment are already scheduled to be changed Monday morning. It is only in my name. Her things will be packed and in storage by Monday afternoon. She will have the access code. I am not being cruel. I am being final. Edit. The papers will be served at her office, Monday around 11 a.m. My lawyer recommended it for safety and documentation purposes. I have already informed my employer's HR department in case she tries to show up at my workplace. I have blocked Marcus preemptively, same with a few of her friends who I suspect know about the affair. My parents, Chris, my close colleagues, they all know my side. She will not control this narrative. Edit 2. Someone asked if I am scared. Honestly, I am angry. I am sad about the time I wasted, but I am not scared. I did everything right, documented everything, protected myself. I am not the one who should be scared. Final update: the papers were served 11 weeks ago. My lawyer said her reaction was immediate. Shock, tears, denial. She tried calling me 73 times that first day. I didn't answer any of them. She texted, said it was all a misunderstanding, that she could explain everything, that I was making a huge mistake. I responded once through my lawyer. All communication goes through legal counsel now. She showed up at my parents' house that night. My mom answered the door. My wife, ex-wife now, I guess, cried and begged. Said I would misunderstood something she said. That she loved me. That we could fix this. My mom let her talk for about 3 minutes. Then she said, I heard the recording. I know what you said about my son. I know what you called his work. I know about your plan. You need to leave now. My wife stared at her, opened her mouth. Nothing came out. My mom shut the door. The next day she started the social media campaign, posts about heartbreak, about sudden betrayal, about not understanding what happened. Vague implications that I had changed, become distant, cold. A few people reached out asking what was going on. I didn't respond publicly. I sent private messages to the people who mattered. Just the facts. I discovered infidelity and financial planning I wasn't comfortable with. I am moving forward with divorce. Most people were supportive. Some of her close friends took her side. I expected that. Let them. Her lawyer tried to negotiate, said she would agree to a quick divorce in exchange for a settlement. My lawyer came back with the prenup terms. That is when it got hostile. She tried to claim the prenup was signed under duress, that my family had pressured her. My lawyer produced emails from before our wedding where she had discussed the prenup with her own attorney, confirming she understood and agreed to all terms. That argument died. Then she claimed I had been financially controlling, that she had had no access to money. My lawyer showed joint account records proving full access, plus records of the separate accounts she had opened, that I only discovered during this process. That argument died too. She tried to claim I had been emotionally abusive. Her evidence was that I had grown cold the last few months of the marriage. My lawyer asked why she hadn't left if she was being abused, asked why she had stayed in daily contact with Marcus during this period of alleged abuse, asked if she had reported this abuse to anyone, sought counseling, documented anything. She had nothing. Her lawyer advised her to accept the prenup terms. She didn't have a case. She signed 5 weeks ago. The divorce will be final in 2 weeks. She gets what she brought into the marriage. I keep the apartment since I purchased it before we married with my own funds. She gets half the joint savings accumulated during the marriage, which is fair. No alimony because the prenup specifies none in cases of infidelity, and I have proof. She is moving back to her hometown. I know this because Chris ran into someone who knows her. Marcus broke up with her when everything came out, told people she had lied to him about her situation. He didn't want the drama. My parents have been steady through all of it. My dad told me he was proud of how I handled it, that I had been smart instead of reactive. My mom just makes sure I am eating and sleeping. Work has been good. Busy is good. That project I spent 40 minutes explaining to her the night before the phone call. It just got approved for full implementation. I got promoted last month. I am leading a team now. I started seeing a therapist 5 weeks ago. It helps. We talk about the betrayal, the lost time, the wondering how I missed it. She keeps reminding me I didn't miss signs. My wife was deliberately deceptive. That is not a failure on my part. Some days are hard. I will see something that reminds me of a good memory and feel that pull. Then I remember it wasn't real. Not for her. The pull fades. I went on a date 2 weeks ago. Coffee with someone Chris introduced me to. It was nice. Normal conversation. She asked about my work and actually listened, asked follow-up questions that showed she understood what I was saying. It reminded me what genuine interest looks like. I am not rushing anything, but it was good to remember that not everyone is calculating an angle. The apartment feels different now. Quieter. I have been changing things. New furniture, different art, making it mine instead of ours. I joined a climbing gym, go 3 times a week, met some people there, building routines that are just mine. The worst part wasn't the betrayal. It was realizing how much time I spent living in a version of reality that didn't exist. But the best part is knowing I don't have to stay there. I am out. I am okay, better than okay. This is my last update, unless something major changes. Time to close this chapter. Thanks, Reddit.